This conference will now be recorded.
I thought that's why we went to every other week, so that way you would have topics.
Oh God! Right off the bat.
I'm gonna hit the record.
Intrigued.
I'm gonna hit the record button again. Yeah, we're gonna start over.
But
I
Well-
seriously was sitting there waiting on that.
so we have another announcement. Then we're gonna go monthly.
Give us a
And
little bit
it's-
more time.
And it's still gonna be a free for all. So,
Welcome,
so,
Kurt.
Yeah, he may leave in a minute. So producer Jim's here to keep us in track. So, yeah. All right, Alicia's
Holy
on here.
crap! Who's
Nice.
here? That's a
Who's
really
that?
strange face.
Oh no, you
With
know what this
Houston,
means?
Texas.
I'm gonna have to get all those back recordings uploaded because I gotta put this one on here, and I can't put it on first. I gotta upload them in order. So
That's like a
that'll-
year of stuff you haven't put up on there, so it's gonna take you a minute.
Yeah, that's another reason we went to going to monthly. Yeah,
I'm just on here today. I didn't tell
I'm
him
not a
why I'm-
social media manager. I work on freaking lasers. But anyway, so if
Pick
anybody's
on
got
Brian
anything,
Day.
that's fine. I'm the default answer most of the time. It works. So if anybody's got any questions or comments or anything, feel free to jump in anytime. Otherwise, we may skew off on a tangent or two. So good to see everybody.
If
Should we
this is
do
your
the
first time
introduction
here,
thing?
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Run with it, Chris.
So one of the Chris's of Thunder Tech Support. So if you're new here, that's me. I'm Brian's first minion.
Yeah, you could definitely say
I'm
that.
minion number 2,
That's right.
otherwise known as Loco or CeeLo, however you want to call me.
Right, and I'm Brian, and
The big minion.
I guess so. Anyway, welcome. We got cool. Jason's on here. I haven't talked to him since Vegas. So, anyway,
What's up, everybody?
How are you?
What's going on?
How's the rodeo?
Oh no,
It's going.
There's another new name on here too, Kimberly Lewis.
All right. So, yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to jump in at any time. Alicia, do you have anything? I know you got a lot going on.
No, this is my first time to join in on this session, so I've always wondered what y'all do in here. And my name is Alicia Pate. For those people who don't know me, I'm obviously a Thunder fan. Got 3 behind me. But anyway, nice to meet y'all.
Oh, so since she's in here, I have to behave myself.
Right.
I don't know if I would say that, but I mean, in general, you should, sure. But
You don't
I
have to
always behave
behave. I
myself.
can run with the big dogs.
that's right. So, and Danny pop back in. All right. Well, somebody
Danny-
tell me something good.
Danny will agree. I always behave myself.
Normally. So, Jason, what do you have going on? We'll get the party rolling with you. You got any news on what's happening over in Rotoboss land?
Not too much. We got the Ascend that just rolled out. Got all the pre-orders and stuff sent out. Thunder's got one to test out and see if they want to bring it on board or not.
Is that thing still in one of those equipment boxes? Or did they?
Probably,
Is it?
probably.
Yeah.
Unless they've uncrated it all.
Chris will have to break it out at the educational one.
Yeah, it's all in that one of those crates.
Yeah.
But if in the meantime, if anybody wanted one, they can get one directly from me on the website. But and then once Thunder decides whether they're going to take it on board or not, then
yeah,
we'll go down that road.
Right.
But either way, it comes with the support and everything. So and the good thing about it is everything is the same as Rotoboss or a Junior as far as setup and use and all that stuff. So
Nice. Keep it
And Alicia's
standardized as
already
much as
using one,
possible.
right?
yeah, she had my she had the prototype. She doesn't have the
She's
production one yet.
she's here.
I
She can.
actually, yeah, I really liked it. As far as all the rotaries that Jason has had, it was probably my favorite one. The profile is a lot lower, so you can get more clearance on it. And I'm kind of sad that he took it back, to be honest.
Oh, he
That's the
stole
one
it
with
from
the
you.
scissor
Got it.
lift, right? Did you like this? Isn't
Yeah,
that the one? Did you like
yeah,
the
it's
scissor
nice.
lift?
Hmm.
It looked pretty cool. So
Yeah, but other than that, we got a couple other things in work, but
yeah,
that'll
yes,
come out at a later date.
These are
cool.
nice. If y'all don't have your hands on one of these yet, this is the spring. How do you say it, Jason? The heel spring loaded wheel.
Heel.
The spring loaded heel wheel. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a nice addition.
I might have to try one of those. So
Yeah, it does pretty good. I mean, obviously it helps with walking, but inadvertently it helps with slippage too.
I like having the
Yeah.
spring on there so that it'll kind of give if there's, if the cup's not spinning true or whatever, as opposed to having a hard stop on each end. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
So, um,
That's it for me.
cool. Well, does anybody else have anything or any questions? We could talk. Should we talk about the educational channel yet that we're exploring? I mean,
Yeah,
just
I mean, you kind of let it out of the bag a little bit.
Yeah.
yeah. So we've got somebody that's come on board.
Mute him.
There we go.
We have somebody that is coming on board with Thunder, Steve Stevenson, and he's really familiar with the educational and makerspace, government, that type thing. I think mostly education, putting CNC machines in schools, like for entire school districts, is the kind of his wheelhouse, and he is coming together with Thunder so that we can start seeing about doing those kinds of placements with the Thunder lasers in schools. So, there'll be hopefully some development of some curriculum that we can use, also as knowledge, for not schools, we can custom tailor, that a little bit. So I'm excited to see how that's going. So we'll keep you posted on that, trying to find new channels. So. Did you find a background you like?
No, not yet. I can't find the one I'd used previously. I swear it's in my downloads folder.
I did the blur and it made
So,
me even uglier because it doesn't blur me too.
so we do have a couple of new people on. So let's see, Kimberly and Kurt. Kurt, are you new too, Kurt?
I think it,
Your
I
your
would
mic
think he's
your
been on
mic's
here
off.
before.
Yeah, I'm fairly new.
So you already have a Thunder though, right?
Yeah, I got it in March, I think.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
How's
Congrats.
it going so far?
It's highly addictive.
Yeah, that it is.
Yeah. And so, I love the machine. I had one anomaly happen the other day. I didn't have a job running. The machine was on. I had the lid open, and all of a sudden it seemed like the X drive just jerked all the way to the left, and it was just sitting there just buzzing really, really, really loud. I didn't take the time to determine what the issue was. I just shut it off immediately. But it was kind of a strange anomaly, and I wondered if anybody else had experienced anything like that.
Oh, that may be new.
Chris, can you
I
reach
know-
back there and open the lid?
I know Lightburn has a feature where they disabled being able to click the start button with the screensaver, right? There's something in there. I've never seen the driver run like that.
No. I mean, it's very easy to accidentally if you have the move window on, and there are some hotkeys that might move it as well.
I've
Yeah,
definitely
that would.
laid stuff on a keyboard and started my fiber up.
Yep,
Yeah.
I don't.
absolutely.
So the head travels even a long distance. I mean, it just like it stays on. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like it's almost like it ignored the limit switches and it just jammed itself all the way to the left and just sat there and like the gears were spinning inside the belt. That's that kind of grinding,
Holy
rubbing
cow.
sound.
Hmm.
Something's
So
That
I don't know.
something's
I
off on
mean, it
that one.
hasn't done it again. And when I turned it off and turned it back on, it didn't repeat the process and it hasn't done it again. So
Yeah. And what machine is it specifically?
say again.
What machine is it specifically?
3580.
Okay. So the only thing I can think of is I don't know what would make it want to home or move. Even if you hit the move button in Lightburn, it'll only go, I think the default's 10 millimeters at a time. So unless it was a real, screwed up thing, I don't know how Lightburn would do that. I guess it's possible. It almost sounds like the limit switch, the head moves over until it contacts the limit switch, and that's what tells it to stop. We have seen where those need adjustment, where maybe it's making the switch, but it does it, right at the physical stop, or maybe it's just not quite there and it doesn't click it every single time. You see what I mean? Because the
Yeah.
switch is adjustable, so you can loosen the two Allen screws and move it toward the inside of the machine just a millimeter or two and tighten it back down and see if, just to make sure that those are making contact. Sometimes that can be intermittent. As far as what
Yeah.
made it just take off on its own, that's weird.
Yeah.
The
That's what I
the
thought was
home
weird too,
button,
because there wasn't anything running at the time. It was just open and just kind of idle. So
the
anyway,
home
next
button
time I'll try to pay
on,
more attention if it happens again.
Okay. Yeah, and definitely shoot a message to support at thunderlaserusa.com if you see any anomalies like that. Even if they get rectified, we like to see that. That way we can kind of track information and keep track of stuff, and helps us with
Sure.
our analytics and stuff. But anytime you need anything, feel free to reach out. So,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah.
that red reset button will also cause a home sequence, which will, if the y-axis was all the way to the back, you wouldn't notice
Yeah.
it, but then the X would keep going.
Yeah.
Or if something causes it to get out of sync and the go to origin button, that can cause it to.
Hey, Brian,
Yeah.
can you hit the mute? Thank you.
All right. Now we'll have a moment of awkward silence.
So, Brian, let me ask a question, a couple of
Sure.
questions. Number one, I've enjoyed the knowledge base a lot, and there's more there than I thought that was there. I'm a fairly new owner. I've had a machine about a month, and I've been out of town a lot, but I really find that quite helpful. What I find annoying about it is I haven't found a good way to search it. Is
Yeah.
there some magic to search the knowledge base?
Well, some of the titles are obscure. A lot of that's my fault. I name stuff really weird. We have some tags that we can, add and things like that for common words so that it'll hit on the keyword. Honestly, it's the way our system is. The system that we chose, the search function can be a little weird in conjunction with the way that our naming conventions are.
Oh, I mean, I've dug through it enough now. I'm kind of finding the stuff that I need, but early on it was a royal pain because I thought, how in the world can I find this stuff? Because I'd search and I'd get no results, and then later I would run across what I wanted. So
Mhm.
anyway,
Yeah.
I think I'm
And
beyond that big problem now. Anyway.
gotcha. I mean, we need that kind of feedback too, and I believe Chris Myers has been actually going into the analytics and looking at missed keywords and things like that, and we're trying to, reactively handle some of that stuff in the back end. So we're, it's a kind of a work in progress. So
So,
Yeah,
for
so
example, I had seen it before, but today I was looking for the electrical schematic. I have a Nova 35100, and
Mhm.
I've been exchanging some emails with Chris Myers about a big thump, when I turn the
Hmm.
machine on. And so I wanted to find out where I could disconnect the Z stepper. And so I was trying to find the schematic so I could find a good spot to do that. And I began to search for it, and it took me a little while to find it. Uh,
Gotcha. Because we're so used to, since we kind of know what they're named, like I'll search for diagram and it'll pop up in that because block
okay,
diagram is typically how we don't call it schematic. So that's probably, and
okay,
that's kind of where the I don't think they're utilizing Google search in our enterprise level system for our
okay.
knowledge base. So it may not be as fuzzy as it needs to be. But we are working on that stuff, but you were able to finally find it, right? Okay.
Yeah, I did, and I printed it out. I'd like to. I'm probably going to take it down to the print shop and get one a little bit larger. Right now, I'm using this desk lamp to
Hmm.
look at it because it's a little
Gotcha.
bit small. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm down in the shop, so I have a big screen upstairs in the office, but that doesn't help me much down here. So anyway,
Right. Yeah. And then there's also a identification page, like the machine hardware identification, and that'll identify like the drivers, and that could give you a quick route, to find the Z driver.
okay,
Then, so
yeah.
we've got, mhm.
How do you find that? Well, I click
um,
here.
that would be under, I type in uh, identifying machine hardware identification is the name of the article.
Okay,
And it basically
yeah,
kind of lays out what everything is. That's a good, quick thing if you're just looking for the Z driver or something like that.
yeah, that will help too. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but I admit, a lot of the stuff is obscure in the way that it's titled, and that's something that we're conscious of. We try to handle as we kind of get the feedback, when available. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah. Just another question for the group. When you turn your CO2, your Thunder CO2 gantry off, do you get a big thump? It's like mine's almost like somebody hits the bottom of the machine with a rubber mallet.
And it's not the contactor, right? Because
No, I don't believe the contactor could make that much noise. It's a,
now you could to eliminate it, you could leave the power switch on and just toggle the laser power switch and see if it doesn't make the noise. If it doesn't, then you've ruled out the contactor.
okay.
Chris's video that he sent me is almost identical to Alan's.
Yeah, mine's
Okay.
always done it
So
where
Mine makes
basically,
my 3580 makes a thump.
yeah, you've got the three motors that are just holding position. Even if they're not moving, they're holding position. So if you were
Yeah,
to go try to push on it, it's going to resist you. And then when you kill power, they just basically release all that tension, and then you get that thump. Like I
Yeah.
was just pulling them individually, and like even the X-axis made quite a bit of noise. Um,
Yeah. You know,
so
I'm familiar with stepper thump. I have a CNC machine, a CNC router, and when you turn it on and off, it thumps a little bit. But this one gives it. I guess it's the way that the Z stepper is mounted. It's like somewhat like a diaphragm of a speaker. So when it gives a thump, it's like somebody's hit the bottom of the machine with a mallet. So
hmm,
I'm I'm gonna I'm gonna disconnect the driver on the Z and turn it off and see what happens. Uh,
gotcha.
I can feel it in the belt. I opened it up and under the crumb tray and held on to the drive belt for the table and
Hmm.
turned it off, and you feel it give a little bit of a whack when you turn it off. So it may be normal, but for me it just sounds a little bit exaggerated and
Gotcha.
bothersome.
And it's good to check it out too. Yeah, I actually saw your ticket come in. I haven't really looked it over real good, but uh, yeah, we'll help you make sure that everything's hunky
Yeah,
dory with it. So
I'll do this checking and I'll get back to y'all. Thank you for that.
sure, absolutely.
So all of mine does it.
so back on the search thing. So what's cool is it gives me two categories: failed searches and successful searches. Did Brian freeze or am I frozen? Okay,
You're
Brian's
good.
still
No, you guys are both good.
there. So some of the unsuccessful searches are, words that somebody uses to describe something because that's how they relate to it, right? So, squiggly lines comes up. Are they wavy lines, squiggly lines? Uh,
Wavy
whatever.
lines.
Yeah, whatever
Yeah.
people call them. So I'm working on an FAQ that basically will have all those key words that once you search it, you go to that point, say, okay, here's the articles that are relevant. People also search some really odd things that come up, like people looking for trucks. I don't know why they're searching our knowledge base for trucks, but and other things. And then it also lists out successful searches, like what words people are searching that there are hits for. So it's kind of nice to see that and cater that uh, functionality too. And then we can add tags and stuff and see what people are looking for. Because as a technical person, what I call something could be completely different than somebody's on, they're on the creative side of things. They may call it something completely different, but we're both talking about the same thing.
Yep. So
Hey Brian, I have a question. This is
absolutely.
Rolando.
Hey, buddy.
So so I'm a new owner. I've been using the machine for over 6 weeks or so, but one thing that I just been having issues with when on Lightburn, I have my SVG file with text, and the text has been formatted a certain font. The font is on my laptop. When I transfer into the um, into Lightburn, the SVG, the text, um, it's been modified to a different font. Is that a Lightburn issue? Is it what do I have to do for that?
So you're saying that you're designing it in another software, and when you bring it in Lightburn, it's different?
I'm designing Adobe Illustrator, and
Okay.
I'm using a font that it's on my laptop. When I'm importing it into Lightburn, the font is changed.
Okay. So
That's
first, I think when you import an SVG file, it's converted those that text to paths. So of course, it wouldn't be editable in Lightburn as text anymore because each program uses a different way to handle their text or whatnot. As far as it changing, is it just in scale or is it in size? Are you saying that
It's the
it
type of font.
looks
It's a
yeah,
uh,
different font.
that should not happen. That's in line form at that point, and it doesn't know
yeah,
what font it is.
right, right. Now, if you designed, I've seen this happen. If you design in Lightburn on a computer and then you take that file and open it on another computer with Lightburn, and one computer has the font and one doesn't, it'll do a replacement or make it look different. But typically, if you're pulling that out of Illustrator, like Chris said, it's going to convert the text into paths, before it ever goes out. So it's no longer a font. It's just a drawing.
Interesting. Well,
So
it,
I
it
don't.
does keep it. Um, so what I have had to do is take the font and create a new um, file on Adobe and convert it into a PNG, and then import that into Lightburn and have it as an image rather than the font to fix it. I haven't been
Ooh,
able to find. Yeah, it's adding a lot of steps.
yeah,
Uh,
that's not good. Yeah, because going from a vector to a
And
bitmap back to a vector is not the greatest way to.
Rolando, email a ticket and send us a file that you know is switching, and I'll be happy to
Yeah.
take a look at it and
I'll do
see if
that.
it's happening on my end.
I'll
And
do
Well,
try
that.
I'm
two different formats too. Send it as an SVG and then also a DXF file, and let's see if that changes anything.
Okay, okay. Well,
It's it's
I'll do that. I'm about to do some jobs, so I'll do that right now. And but it was weird because I I've been ignoring it and just converting it into a PNG. But I know that there needs to be a better way to work around that.
Yeah, we'd like to
Yeah.
get our eyes on that and have a look. That's interesting. So,
You
Okay,
can also
perfect.
open up that SVG in like Microsoft Edge and see if it is showing up correctly in Edge. I use Affinity Designer, which it struggles for some reason opening up SVGs from third-party software, and I have a ticket in with them that they haven't fixed. But uh, I export it from Lightburn, open it up in Edge. Edge looks perfect. Import it into Affinity, and it just scatters everything around like it just threw it at the plate. You may be having something like that because not every version of SVG is the same. There's a lot of different versions, and then some programs will actually try to embed fonts as well as a
yeah.
check mark when you export it, depending on what you're doing. So a lot of stuff going on there. The ultimate thing is if you're dealing with text and it's going to be something that like you're doing a run of graduation mugs or something, it's better to have that text in Lightburn anyway because it's a lot easier to edit versus in a third-party software. So you can always recreate it in Lightburn and then edit there because Lightburn should have all your installed fonts.
Okay, so
And
if I if
the
to follow to that, so if I have a font on my desktop, that doesn't necessarily mean that's in Lightburn, so I need to import it into Lightburn. Is
it
that what I'm
Like
understanding?
not
no.
If you
Lightburn uses system fonts, whatever's on the computer. If both computers don't have the font on it, that's where you run into the trouble
Yep.
Okay,
in
and
that
I'm using the
instance.
same laptop with the font on the laptop to Lightburn and to push into um,
Okay.
my
Well,
Thunder.
yeah, if you're all in one computer doing everything, then the fonts should be the same because they use the system fonts.
Okay, I'll send the ticket so you guys can look at the file.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Perfect.
we'll
I
be glad to
appreciate
help.
it. Thank you.
Sure. Looks like
Another
Richard
thing to
Wills
note
came
when
on. Oh, go ahead.
when you are building in Lightburn as opposed to Illustrator or any other one, it's going to automatically weld. So you don't. That's another step saved as opposed to in Illustrator or Corel or most of those. They don't weld the text as you type.
Mhm. I've used that even to take a normal text and change the spacing where it's smaller and actually so they're well together, even though they're not supposed to be, to make a stir stick out
Mm-hmm.
of regular letters, without having to draw a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of stuff. Just kind of squish them together a little.
What do we got besides silence?
Sorry, I see squirrels. I look over in the tickets and start seeing squirrels.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I submitted an opportunity improvement to Doris this week. I don't know if she'll do anything with it, but I said it would be nice on the read control panel where you raise it and lower it or move it around to have almost like braille dots there, so that you don't have to necessarily always look at it. You could kind of feel one or two dots is left or right and one is up or down. Anyway, we'll see if she does that because most of the time I'm not really looking over there at that controller. I'm kind of looking at the head,
Hmm.
and I just thought it would be a nice feature add.
And that if we're
So
getting into education side, that might actually be a good avenue to go down.
Hmm.
I mean, we kind of debuted what the future is going to be in Vegas of the control screen.
Yeah, that's
Oh, is it
true.
not like hand at all?
Yeah,
It's something else.
it's all a touch
It's
screen.
gonna be touchscreen.
Oh, okay. Well, don't need that then. That's cool.
Yeah.
And
Now,
it's
I
neat.
mean, in actuality, it does still have tactical buttons, but I can switch cameras and show you. I think.
You're gonna have to blur everything out though. No, just kidding.
That's what it'll
Yeah,
look like.
there's still
Oh,
some
that's cool.
membrane keypad
Yeah.
there, but
But like if you're like on my 63, you're stretching way across, and sometimes even on the 35 because I like to stay on the upper left of the bed. But
mhm.
anyway, nothing stopping me from printing, sticking something
you,
on there.
you could put a couple of dabs of hot glue on there.
Yeah.
And then you might be able to peel it off. after you
So
don't want to.
people have created little interface boxes to go back to Lightburn, haven't they? Like
Yeah,
they've 3D
using the
printed and made a
hotkeys for
little,
move.
yeah, to where they could do all their stuff,
Mhm.
almost like a,
Mhm.
Super
Well,
Nintendo controller or
And,
something.
if your Wi-Fi, or if you have your not necessarily Wi-Fi, but if you have your computer networked, using Ethernet, you can use the apps, the mobile apps for Android and iPhone, the Ruida control. I've done that.
That's what I was gonna suggest or ask about, was about using the apps on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
They got the Ruida remote controller too.
Yeah, but that
That
thing
yellow
costs
one?
like $400. You can
As
do it
much
on
as
your
a
phone for
controller.
nothing.
Jason's just like, it's just another 400.
that's
Yeah,
right.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got one. I just haven't hooked it up yet.
Send it to
Got it, not
Alicia.
even used
I was gonna say, if you don't want to use that, you know my address. I got something from you today.
Yeah, I might be able to find it somewhere in the mess. Dang, Loco, I see you got
Ryan,
your
what is the one for Android?
building phone finally.
Yeah, it's a 40-degree difference from
Yeah.
the from the outside. It's nice.
Oh yeah.
Air conditioned next week. Then you could finally drive down.
There you go. That's what I've been waiting on. I can't work in the heat. I can't work in the heat.
Neither can Loco, but he sits there all day.
Yep, in the spot right here.
Hey, did y'all see where I pushed the 63 and put a 71-inch cedar board plank in it?
Mm-hmm.
I did not see
There
that.
was no extra room.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for that bar or restaurant, or
Yeah,
yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah, I've done that
that
with
was a fun job.
I'm not that
aluminum.
brave or talented.
Oh, how cute, Chris.
That one.
Chris too.
What do I do
Two.
now?
Which who's Chris two?
Loco.
And
Yep.
who's
Loco's one, ain't he?
technically Chris Myers? You forgot the extra E in your name.
That's right.
Uh,
I had a
the
dollar.
Chris Myers was first, technically.
Oh.
So yeah, you had it right. If you're talking about Loco, CeeLo, I don't know. I try. I try with it. You even have it on your name, and I still just automatically say Loco. Anyway,
It is whatever. I go by anything. Lots worse than that.
Crickets.
I'm waiting on producer Jim to say something.
He's hiding in the dark
I was behaving myself.
until
Well,
the
I
after
can,
show.
so since I don't work for Thunder, I can kind of say this. There's lots of hubbub going around of some people that are very unhappy with the timelines that are being quoted now for their machines that they ordered. And so we're seeing some people jump from that ship coming over to the Thunder, trying to get out of their contracts on the other one. So y'all might see an uptick in people getting more machines just because of the push out, like months of push out.
Wow.
Yeah, I seen one of those posts where someone got pushed. They were supposed to have it in June. They got pushed back to like August.
Yeah.
Actually, the one person's coming here this weekend to check out the machines. So
Oh, there
it'll
you
be
go.
nice. It'll be
I've been
interesting
asked
to see
5 times
how.
this. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say it's going to be interesting to see how some of them get out of their contracts and their no return policies or 25% restocking fee.
But you'd think well, I don't know.
If they were
If things-
promised
If they were
3 months
promised,
and then
yeah,
right.
I don't know. But I have seen a lot of those lately, actually, myself too. But
I've been asked 5 times this week. What's
Wow.
the timing to get a Thunder machine? Because I'm tired of waiting for my mirror, and it's going to be longer. And people are pissed. I mean, that's
Rightfully
why I
so.
switched from Aeon to Thunder in the beginning, because they quoted me, and this was 2 years ago, 4 months. I called Thunder, and they said, I'll get you a 63 in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we see how that turned out.
Mhm.
Well, time is
So
money,
anyway,
right?
yeah. I mean, I couldn't wait till December.
Yeah.
So
Well,
y'all make some more.
even before we bolstered up, and got caught up with stock and stuff, we were basically pre-order from the very beginning. Of
Yeah.
course, it
Yeah.
was a lot smaller then, but people were waiting, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks. I mean, and crazy times. I
That
was
was longer
joking
than
around.
that in
It's
the
like
beginning.
camping out for the new Apple iPhone for a week and a half. But they weren't mad about waiting on a Thunder. Because I guess they knew what they were getting. But I certainly am glad that they've ramped everything up, and it is 2 to 4 weeks on most of them now, depending
Yeah.
on
Yeah, I mean, if
location
you're
and
close to the warehouse, you might see it in a week and a half.
a
It's
week.
insane.
I've seen a few people say they've seen them in a week, that they were
Yeah,
Is
we're
that in
not
surprised.
promising
California, the
anybody that,
warehouse?
but
Where's the
we
warehouse?
have
That's
one in New Jersey, and then we have another one in Los Angeles.
Yeah. So there's 2 in Cali, and then 1 in Jersey.
Yeah,
I got mine in a week.
Yeah.
That's fast.
Wow.
I was
And that's
I wasn't prepared at
yeah.
all, but I got mine in a week.
well.
And I'm in Detroit, Michigan. So,
And yeah, that's one of the things that we thought about, because when machines were taking 2 or 3 months to get to people, or 4 or 5, they had plenty of time to research and get ready and prepare for the machine. But if you're getting them in 1 week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks, I mean, there's a lot that can, that's a whole lot to swallow. So
it was, and I think that's why I got overwhelmed. And then I was asking questions, and I'm actually Kim R. Lewis, so and I
okay,
got frustrated with, you know what I'm saying, because I'm like, they was like, well, you should have did research. Well, I thought I had 2 to 4 weeks. Next thing I
right,
know, it was March this. The next thing I know, I got your machine and shipped the next day. The next thing I know, the driving company was like, your machine's here at the warehouse. Can we bring it tomorrow? I'm like, okay, this all happened within a week. And I'm like, if I had 2 to 4 weeks, yeah, I would have researched, and I've been able to do more research. So I
sure,
also had to hurry up and get my room together for it. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Because I got the 24. So I had to get the outlet put in. I had to do all that stuff, within that week, because it's like, it's here. I
Yeah,
didn't have
hmm
time to really, really research. And then when you get
I'm just.
something new, you're not going to just let it sit there and be
You
like, well,
can't do that.
okay. Right. You're not going to just let it sit there. You want to play with it.
No,
It's
but
a new toy.
I think we did good though. After our training and everything, you took to it
Yes, I
really,
did
really
good.
well.
Yes, yes. And then, like I said,
Good.
once you related the terms more to like my embroidery terms, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? I was good. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I'm good now. So,
Yeah. Good. I'm glad it worked out.
it
yeah.
can be intimidating. It's like an alien aircraft. Is that the right word? Landed in your lap.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So,
May the
Yeah.
fourth day.
Yeah. Because when my husband came home, he was like, what is this in it? What did you buy? Hey, he's like,
I
this
thought I
is
had
not
2 weeks
no
to tell you.
desktop. But no, he knew about it. But he said, this is not no desktop. I'm like, well, get you and somebody else to bring it in the house. And our Michigan weather just so happened the Friday it got delivered, we had a snowstorm.
Oh, perfect.
So right, oh, we trying to get it in the house, snow falling, steps slippery. It was like one mess. So, but it worked.
so how do you like it after the initial frustration?
I love it. Actually, I love it. And I usually don't let things frustrate, but like I said, I just think like
Sure.
it just came so fast.
Oh yeah.
You know what
Oh
I'm
yeah.
saying? It's
Oh,
like,
I get frustrated at them. I totally get it. It's
I ordered
kind of
it on a
strange.
Thursday. Friday they like, okay, it's shipping. The next thing I know, I'm looking at it and I'm like, dang, it's in Chicago already. The next thing I know, road runner called me like, yeah, your machine's here at the warehouse. Can we deliver it Thursday or Friday? And actually, I was like, okay, we'll do Friday because they called me on a
Right.
Wednesday, and I was like, nah, I need to do Friday because I'm still not ready for it.
Gotcha.
There's a prime
So, but
example, though, is that she had stated that Loco was able to put it in the terms that she understands. And that's one of the things that always aggravates me is people getting on Facebook and blowing up posts that they're aggravated or upset at things because they don't understand instead of getting a hold of you three in the beginning and where you guys can
Yeah,
make
we
it less
can.
frustrating and less aggravating to those people because the Facebook community doesn't know everything and there's a bunch of um, wannabes
Oh, you
out
get a
there
whole
that
bunch
can't
of
explain things.
you get a bunch of stuff thrown at you, and you're like, all right,
Exactly.
I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try this one.
mm-hmm.
Listen, luckily
It's like,
we see just about everything there is, so we usually have the answer quickly. And luckily I've worked with so many different types of machines as Chris and Brian too that we can relate. Usually, somebody has an embroidery machine. Not, I bought my ex-wife one. I know how it works.
Yeah.
Origins kind of play into it. Plasma cutters,
Yeah.
CNCs. We can all relate somehow.
Right. And the other thing is even across groups, like Alicia's got a great group and there's people, that own all different kinds of lasers. So if somebody with a Thunder asked a question, sometimes you got to take them with a grain of salt because somebody with a Boss or another machine may answer and it may be right, but it may be just a little different, if it has to do with air assist, because we got the dual air assist, so there may be some things like that. So sometimes it's good to bounce it off tech support, if you're not absolutely sure, but that, it's good to realize too that there are differences between the machines, so that can sometimes add some buzz. So, but I'm glad you like your
That's a
machine.
good point to kind of iterate to people too. Is when you have a question, like when you have a question online, try to be as specific as you possibly know how to be when you're asking a question, and that'll help eliminate all these other people throwing out information that may not pertain to your laser, especially if you're in a general group like Alicia's or somebody else's. Uh, and then, like Brian said, take some of it with a grain of salt, and find out what machine they have that they're referring to too. Because if it's totally different, the situation
Yeah.
or the outcome will be totally different for you as
Yeah.
well.
And I
Not
mean,
only
most of the
that,
stuff,
they could be doing things wrong themselves and not correct to the way things should be
Yeah,
done, which is
and
only going to cause more confusion and more aggravation to that person instead of getting it from one of you three.
I think
but
Alicia
I
will. Sorry, go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Brian.
That's true. That is
Go ahead,
really
Chris.
true because people were just coming like left and right. And then I'm like, okay, the main thing they kept saying, well, why you didn't research? Well, I got it in a week versus 2 to 4 weeks. I mean, she did tell me that it was in stock, when I ordered it, but I still thought I had that grace period of 2 to 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I didn't have time to really research and really, really read,
And we see that on
So
this side too. I mean, we do.
Yeah.
Where people would have, Brian, you mention it quite often that people just don't have the time to prepare like they used to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it arrives at your doorstep. I want it together, and I want to start playing with it. So it's frustrating, but
A
it's
lot of ways,
also a blessing too. It's also how many people over promise and under deliver. You didn't get that here.
That's true. We get an A for effort on getting that machine to you fast.
That's yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do.
well, that's the other thing. Some of these depots, they want it off their dock, and then some of them are just like, yeah, we'll be in your area next Friday. They just don't have any urgency. It just depends on how they operate. Like T-Force versus XPO, I got a call Tuesday. And XPO's like, hey, we're gonna be out your way tomorrow. We got a crate for you between 8 and 5. And it's like, okay,
That's a narrow window.
yeah. Yeah, thanks,
Okay, right.
cable guy. Or
I
Teach
have a
Forces.
personal one where Alicia will probably agree with me on this one. Don't go on the forum and go, "What's your best source of wood?" and go ...
I hate that.
Like I mean, yeah, it's frustrating. People want everything kind of spoon fed to them at some point, and research and learning on your own is great as well.
Yeah.
Another good one is my laser won't cut. What's wrong with it, or what should I do? Like, instead of kind of giving parameters or whatever they tried or didn't try, or things like that.
Well, y'all just get ready.
Yep.
Y'all probably won't see it that well. Maybe you will see it some, but a lot of those people that are in that lane doing that have fibers on their way. So it's
Fiber's
really
a
going to
quicker
be bad.
It's
Yeah.
a quicker learn, though, I think. And
Yeah.
once you get it down, it's a quick learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fiber's not terrible. So
And since you can run it all off a Lightburn, it's really easy to swap between them.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't have to have different files for EasyCAD or any of that stuff. You can use the same files. Obviously, settings are different, but
yeah, I'd certainly like Lightburn a lot.
A lot.
That's it.
after talking
I
with
got a
Jason,
question.
that's some pretty good
Okay.
things.
What you got, Jim?
It's happened twice. I just went out and see if I had the same problem. I got a 3580, and about a few days ago, I turned it on. Lights come on. I jig it around, set up for the burn. I turn the laser on, shuts down everything. It's like as dead as a doornail. I checked the circuit breaker, not blown. I power it on several times and still dead. Whatever reason, I unplugged it from the live circuit, plugged it back in. I'm not sure if that did it, but soon after that, it worked. Just recently, 15 minutes ago, I'm running out there just to see if I could do it again. I just turned the lights on, dead as a doornail. Circuit breaker's good. Unplug it, plug it back in. Light comes on. I can turn the laser on.
And
Is there a
what
timing circuit?
what light are you referring to turning
The
on?
inside lights. The inside
You mean
lights.
the main power
The ones that
switch?
you control everything but the laser. Yeah, the top ones.
Okay.
Are you on a surge protector or a power strip?
No,
Or a
no,
GFCI?
nope.
I just wonder because sometimes those will pop and they'll have a delay in resetting or automatic reset.
I got a 50-amp circuit, and I'm only using 30 watts in the whole shop.
Okay, so my input, I'm not the technical team, so I'm just going to give you kind of a user perspective. My 63 was doing that one time when I moved from my city house to the ranch, and it was kind of being just like you're saying, intermittent, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? I unplugged it and plugged it back in. It wasn't that, but when I went inside the machine where the connectors go from the back side of the plug, and I just pushed it in, it was a little bit loose there. So some of the vibrations from probably running the machine, that could be it. There's just like I think there's two prongs that you just push it in to just seek the connection a little bit better. And that was what my problem was.
Okay, that might be it because I have moved this machine forward a few inches, maybe 6 inches, just to get behind it to look at some of the ductwork, whatever, and then pushed it back. Would
Check
that?
Yeah,
that.
and
'Cause mine was just a little loose. Go ahead, Chris.
and not even that. We have to keep in mind that it goes on a container
Well,
over 4,000 miles, then in the back of a truck to your house. So things do vibrate, and we do something like that. Definitely check the connections on the back side, the front side, the switches. Just double check them all.
Okay, I've had it for a while. I just
remember a while back.
So kind of to the earlier point, something that heats up expands. So if you've got a loose terminal, one of those crimps or something, it could just need to be crimped a little bit harder onto the metal spade. I've also had it where the blue connector on the back looks like it's rotated all the way because, it's kind of twist lock, but it was like a couple degrees short of actually being locked in place, and just had, and that little tab kind of actually locked it in.
Okay.
So stuff like
I've
that.
never had any problem before. Everything seemed to be working, and just the last 2 times I power it up. I use it, the laser, just maybe a little less than Brian does. I don't use it full time.
So did the problem start after you moved it forward and moved it back?
I don't know. It might have been 3 weeks before I powered it up when the first time happened. I was first thinking it sat there, and there was some timer inside that when I turned the laser on,
Well, remember,
it turned out,
Probably be a good idea to submit a ticket if that's still being an issue, because we like to track those anyway. That way we can, kind of walk you through some stuff.
Well, that's why I figured I'd run out there
like
real quick. I run out there real quick to check to make sure it's doing before I submit the ticket to see what you guys all think. Because the first thought it was lack of use.
Right.
Just sitting there maybe a couple weeks. But I'll check the connections again.
Yeah,
Okay.
check your
Yeah, do
connections
that
with the
and
blue port.
definitely let us know for, if it's giving you
Because
trouble.
I got the child-proof connectors on my circuits, and they drive me crazy. I can't check the voltage on the little protective guards.
Gotcha.
So.
Hey, Jim, it sounds like you've got a meter.
Yeah.
So I just put an article in the group chat. That's one that talks about points that you can start checking, because there could be 120 across certain positions, and knowing where it stops will give a greater detail of what component could be the cause. So like if you have lights on, that means the 24-volt power supply has power. If you have the drivers running, that means the 36-volt power supply has power, that kind of stuff. So take a look at that article as well if you're familiar with using meter.
Yeah, the first time I got the lights, I could move it, I could send the laser, all ready to burn it, turn the laser on, blink, gone. And the second time, just now, I just go to power the lights on. I don't get it. I just did as a doornail. It's like it's unplugged.
Okay.
Another thing you might want to check, you said you can't check it because you've got the child-proof outlets on, which I didn't even know that they did this in 20 amp. Is checking do you have a GFI breaker?
No. I should maybe. I don't know. I don't.
No, we don't.
I know the circuit's hot.
GFI breakers can do weird things at certain times on amp draws. Just the reason why I'm saying that is because my mother-in-law, they had installed a GFI breaker on her washing machine, and it would do weird stuff. And I kept trying to tell them that was the stupidest ass thing to do. And so I finally won the battle when the tech come in there and going, they had called techs in on this brand new wash, everything else. I'm like, they've got a GFI breaker on there. And he just looked at me and said, that shouldn't make a difference. And I'm like, watch. And I went and changed the breaker out. 0 problems. GFI breakers just pull weird shit.
No GFI at all.
Yeah. But yeah, check those connections and stuff. And if it's giving you trouble, definitely let us know, and we'll continue to work with you on it for sure. Get you handled.
Okay. Okay, thanks a lot.
Absolutely.